Record to the cloud. Oh,
Right on.
recording in progress. Welcome to this show.
On a
So
dark desert highway. Oh, go ahead.
that's correct. So I wanted to go over the song Hotel California, which is by the band called Eagles. And it's not their first hit. I'm not even sure if it's their biggest hit, but it's one of my all-time favorite songs. And for as many times as I've heard it, I still don't get tired of it. And it's pretty weird because I have low tolerance for repetitions. So that's one of a few songs that I've never gotten tired of. And so I thought I'd invite a couple people who I think have very cool minds. And I think I'm gonna send this to Randos, see if they'll put it up there on the Randos United channel. I was inspired to do this by, what's that woman's name? I can't understand how to pronounce it.
Nodrick?
Yes, her and Iron Root or Manuel have been doing something similar to this, and I think that's pretty cool. I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, where we're not just talking about like theological ideas and all this philosophy ideas. All that stuff is wonderful, but I wanted to try something a little different, and so
Yeah,
why not? So does everybody have the lyrics?
I have it in the browser window to my
I can open
this
it.
side of me.
I'll open it up here.
I brought my sun-kissed just in commemoration to California. So there's something weird. I'm kind of weirdo, so I like to look up words like etymologies and definitions and stuff. And I looked up the definition of the song, or I'm sorry, of the word California, or its etymology, or etymology. I don't know.
Apology.
Yeah, and it comes from, now I don't think it's tied to the song, but I thought it'd be interesting to share that it's an old mythology story written in like the 1600s or the late 1500s by somebody roughly around the time that Don Quixote was written. And it's written about this woman named Khalifa. So it kind of turns later on into California. And this story was read by a lot of sailors and stuff at the time, Spanish sailors and things like this. And she is like this queen of an island of like Amazonian women. And she ends up, she has these griffins, and I don't know, it's really crazy. She ends up like sending the griffins out to go take out these Christian army. And I don't know, it's kind of crazy. Anyways, if you ever get a chance to go read up on it, it's pretty, I don't know, I thought it was pretty interesting. But I don't think that this is the she that they're referring to in this song. So that was just one weird thing that I thought I'd share. And
Bonus.
Booyah. Yeah, not 1998 called and they want their booyah back.
I can't have it. We're keeping
No,
it.
they can't. All right, so yeah, also like for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about the music as much as I could. The Eagles are pretty bad about letting their music being used on the YouTubes and stuff for copyright purposes. But when this is a very iconic opening to the song. I mean, as soon as you hear like the first two notes, you might know exactly what song it is. And I also think it kind of has like it kind of sounds like an old church organ sound almost. I know it was recorded with a 12-string guitar, and then it was ran through a Leslie, which is a speaker that would spin around. Usually that would typically be plugged into an organ of some sort, like a Hammond or something. And then, but it has this cool sound to it, but it almost sounds like what I think to sound like kind of like creepy, almost creepy church hymns in a way, because the notes of it are kind of interesting. So
Can you hum the opening?
yeah, it's like do 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 do.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Leslie kind of gives it like a little bit of a, what do you call that? Like an off sound, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of, it sets the tone for sure. Kind of a more mysterious, dark sound to it. But it's weird because throughout the whole song, then they later come in with like it's like almost like a borderline reggae mixture between like reggae and Spanish music mixed together to make this.
It's
Which
like
I
the
think-
warm smell of colitas turned into music.
That's what I was thinking. It gives you some heat, right? Some sunshine.
Well, yeah, and also the idea of California itself being kind of like a mixture of cultures in a way, and I think that kind of comes through in the music in a lot of ways, not just like I just said there, but even you get to the guitar solos in the end there, and they almost have, like I don't know if the Glenn Fry was, I'm sorry, Don Felder was influenced by Chet Atkins or something like that, but it has kind of like a interesting older guitar sound mixed in there. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say about the music end of it. I think it's iconic. I love this song so much, and every time I hear it, I kind of have a different idea of what it's talking about to a degree.
So Chad, you love everything about the song? You love the music, the lyrics, the feeling, all that?
Yep. I like, I mean, it's darker. I think it is relatable because I think it's also, it can be introspective, I guess, from time to time. Like it can, like I think all great music has an ability to kind of meet me where I'm at. And sometimes.
Do we want to say what we think the song is about, or we want to just?
Yeah.
I want to save mine for the end.
Okay, I'll save mine then too.
Kind of a spoiler if I tell you what it's about before we go through it.
Yeah. That's why I asked, actually, because I thought, is it going to spoil it if we do that? So
yeah, we got to make people watch and wait in anticipation.
Yeah, they'll just shut it off after I say what I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I'm going first, because they really want to hear you guys talk. So
No, that's not true.
Quit deprecating all over yourself in front of me. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can go line by line if we want. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. Like, yeah.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. So he's either on a horse, a motorcycle, or in a convertible.
He's in a convertible. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And, we have on our property has, it's kind of an amphitheater type thing. There's hills on either side. And in the summertime, when it starts to get cool at night, and it cools off quite a bit because we're at a higher elevation. So you get this sudden cool down as soon as the sun goes behind the hills, but when I walk up to the barn to do the chores, this warm air will sweeps down from the hillside, right? And it's always in a section, like I can actually be walking in cold air and then boom, I'm in the warm air. I walk through it and then boom, I'm out of it. And I can almost imagine something like that, where the desert is cooling. And so there's this upper air that's, but then the warm air is warm, like the warm smell of colita, right? Coming up off the pavement, or because pavement stores heat. So Yeah, that's
So
what
the
I,
heat of the highway is pulling up the warm smell of colitas, which I don't know what it is. I assume it's some sort of food, but it
No,
could be
I think
something
it's flour.
completely different.
I'm gonna
No.
look at it.
Colitas is, it's a slang term for tails, like tiny tails, which they were referring to it as like the buds on a wheat plant.
Yeah, that's what
Or
it's here.
he might be smoking too as he's going. So you're kind of getting a picture of this guy or this person as they're going. So first of all, they're coming from the east and they're coming through the desert to get to California. I think the actual hotel California,
Yep.
it's not a hotel, it's an idea, right?
Up
Yeah.
ahead in the distance?
Too much. What's that?
Up ahead in the distance?
Yes.
I saw a shimmering light.
Yeah.
And my head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had to stop for the night.
Yeah, well, if he was enjoying the warm smell of colitas, that makes sense to me.
That does make your head grow heavy.
And your sight grow dim. Right?
Yeah.
Start looking through a couple of little slits.
That's kind of like he could tell he failed his savings throw and the spell was starting to take effect.
Right, and it does sound a little bit like a fairy tale at the same time, right?
Very much is, for sure.
You know? So like in a fairy tale, when they're approaching the thing, there's always this force that doesn't want them to get there, right? That's trying to hinder this entrance into this transformative experience.
Like your guardian angels doing their best.
Yeah. Or I mean, it can even be the reverse, if you're trying to do the good thing and, there's some kind of evil that's holding you back. And oftentimes they do get tired, right? Like this is Sleepy Hollow, when he falls asleep, or the disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus asked them to stay awake and pray and they fall asleep. That's
Sounds
kind of,
like it's got the dark oasis feel to it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. He's definitely, he might not be running from something, but he might be running towards a dream, I think is what it is. It's like, when I think of California or running away to California in the classic sense, like you would see, when the American mythology would be, we're going to run away to California and go be stars, become the gods.
isn't California, isn't it the gold rush state? Like,
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where you're going to go get rich, right? And it still is, in a sense, right? Hollywood and all that, the get rich quick thing. Yeah.
Right. And so he's leaving somewhere, and he arrives at his dream place in the nighttime, as you said. It's like this dark kind of fairy tale, and there's a shimmering light. There's a light like the North Star almost, like there it is. And I think a lot of the song too is a mirror as well. So he finds exactly what he's looking for. And
But does he want?
right. And we'll get to that, right? So
As she stood in the doorway,
Mm.
I heard the mission bell.
Mm-hmm.
The mission bell isn't like significant to me because like just making it a mission bell makes it like pulls in so much history-ish
It does.
of the place. And then it's like it's what side of it? It like and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. Because like you don't know how well the mission is doing. And like the church could be overrun by vampires. So
well, that's always how we feel about everything, right? Like when we're entering into some kind of new space, we're never sure if it's going to be heaven or hell. Like, I think that's always the question.
Sure.
Certainly true of this Zoom call.
But like you said before, California is the gold rush state, right? So you have the gold, and you have the also as a place where there's missions all up and down the coast, and it's a place of war. People are always trying.
Gives it a Spanish feel, right?
Yep.
Like it really sets you in the place. Like you know, you can see the architecture, you can, you know, dry, dusty, hot, all those things, you know, all those images, right?
Yep. And yeah, there's kind of these clashing of kingdoms, like
Yeah.
the gold and the church and so
Mhm.
and that's what I mean, like this, whoever this is, you know, like he's almost chasing this dream, and it's like he's chasing his own religion, so to speak, like his own ideal, where he wants to be this somebody else, right? Whether, yeah, so
Do you think he does? Do you think he's actually working towards something, or he's just,
yeah.
yeah?
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting. I get the
I
feeling
think-
that he's kind of falling into it.
I think
Wait,
it's both
What do you
and.
think, Ben?
Did we lose Grim?
No, but well, maybe.
I'd like, do you think he's moving intentionally towards something, or he's just kind of falling into it?
I think he's falling into it.
Mhm.
I think he's seduced.
Yeah. That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like he failed his savings throw and the spell started taking effect.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it
Then
somehow-
she, but go ahead.
well, just somehow it just feels like he's taken by surprise by the whole thing, right? He's being led, like kind of dumbfounded in a way.
Yeah, she lit up the candle and
Mm.
showed me the way. There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say,
Welcome to the Hotel California.
such a lovely place.
Such a lovely.
Such a lovely face.
Bow, bow, bow. Yes, there's plenty of room at the Hotel California. Any time of year,
Any time of year.
you can find it here. So I think he is looking for something, hence the you can find it here. But I think it's both and. Like he's coming from, he's left somewhere to drive all night and go even through the desert to end up at this place. He's looking for something. He doesn't know what he's playing with. I think it's both what you're saying too. He's getting sucked into this.
But he's
And-
also coming out of the desert. Like he's
Mhm.
coming out of a lonely, solitary, barren experience of life, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
I
this
think
is offering him some kind of an abundance, right? You know.
I think he gets sucked into the place, but like he was looking for the she, whether he was consciously aware of it or not.
Mhm.
And what I think too is like the she is very strange in the song, because I think she's, you know, obviously she's a symbol for something. That's what I think. You know, I think she's almost the same she that you find as the she that's looking to buy a stairway to heaven, where all that glitters is gold. I think that she's very much the same she. I think they're related. The same kind of well, yeah, I mean, so you got the gold in California, you got the girls in California, you got California girls, you got the mission here, as you said. So it's all these different things.
When I read the next verse, her mind is Tiffany twisted. She's got the Mercedes Benz.
That line is so great.
It's so good. It's really, really good. And, you know, like she's an addict, right? But she doesn't, but it's all dressed up, right? So it's almost like a corpse that's adorned in some kind of outward beauty. And
I love the Mercedes Benz part, because the Benz is bends like when you go too deep underwater. It's
Yeah.
not, and like that's where she is in materialism. She's like twisted into materialism.
Yeah,
Super
exactly.
deep.
But it's also what happens to the body when you withdraw from heroin.
You get the bends?
Well, I
News to
mean,
me.
your whole body is twisting and bending, right? And yeah, and her life isn't deep. Like, she's got a lot of pretty boys that she calls friends, right? Nobody's her husband. And they're all dancing for their own purposes. Like, it's very individualistic, right? Some dance to remember, some dance to forget. They're not in any kind of communion. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know, because like to me that she calls friends line above that means to me that they are in communion.
They are
And
what?
that they are in communion, and that the dance is euphemism for them dancing with her specifically.
Yeah, but she's not letting them be anything else. She
Well-
calls them friends, right? Like, she's not letting them any closer than that. That's how I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've always taken it to be like she's a businesswoman,
Mm.
but you know, projection.
Yeah, well, I think both the he that gets there and this she, they're both kind of just symbols for, like, they're icons of this
Sure.
this California vision,
Culture.
you know. So they're representing these and everybody, all the characters here are all kind of mirrors. I think they're just like, when he sees her, he sees something that he wants for him in a selfish manner. So it's a very selfish, self-centered. I think when, just like she's like this, like your stereotypical or what somebody might imagine a stereotypical California girl is going to be like, this very, she's also like has this self-centered vision. She needs the attention of the boys. She needs the diamonds and the car and the pretty boys, and they're all playing in this, right? Because some dance to remember and some dance to forget.
Well, see, I guess what's calling to my mind here, because there's a scene in Lilith where the main character goes into this ballroom, and there are all these skeletons, and they're all dancing with each other, and they're all dressed up in beautiful clothing, right? And it's elaborate and sumptuous, and but they're skeletons and they have no faces. And somehow that this maps onto that for me, because they're so, I don't know, maybe inward, you could say, that they can't see each other, right? Because they have no faces. So, they're just, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It just reminds me of that.
I like the some dance to remember and some dance to forget part. I think is part of what makes this, like what Chad was saying about the song "Meet You Wherever You're At."
Mhm.
I think that line, like,
Yeah.
because when you hear the song, you might be dancing to remember already, or you might be dancing to forget, and like the song lets you fit into it right there.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Well, and then like where they, the couple lines before, there's these surface level compliments that such a lovely place, such a lovely, she's got such a lovely face. And
That's kind of sarcastic, don't you think? Like, it
Yeah.
feels sarcastic.
Yep. It's all very self-serving in this way. And they might not even know that they're doing this. They're just
No.
so,
Oh, such a lovely face strikes me as tragic rather than superficial.
Mhm.
Like something so beautiful lost and trapped in this horrible nightmare of a place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He
So
doesn't
I
really know it's a nightmare yet, though, at that point, right? He hasn't fallen all the way down yet. He's just hearing these and obviously remembering what he first heard, right? Like that because this is a memory of him arriving there. Because at the end of the song, he's been there, right, for a long time. So yeah, so that he remembers those first words he heard, and they were those words, such a lovely place. And, you know, if you're arriving somewhere for the first time and you hear lovely language, it feels good, right? It feels, oh, this is friendly. Everybody's talking nice, flowery words and, you know, but then but because it's a memory and he looks back on it now, it's like the music at the beginning coming through the Leslie, where it's suddenly it's twisted, right? It's off.
right. But sorry to jump back, but it just hit me now when you were talking when she lit up the candle and she showed me the way. I think that's also a euphemism. Now that I think about it.
ties back into that heroin real hard.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
Shari was shooting up earlier.
A beginning of loss of innocence there. Obviously, he's tripping over all sorts of new stuff that, like he went to find something great, and it wasn't. He definitely found something great, but he wasn't what he thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all.
I mean, I've never used heroin, but I've heard that the first time you trip on heroin, it's amazing, right? And that's kind of the thing that the heroin addict is always looking for again. That's that chasing the dragon thing. So, yeah.
Like, how do I do this, lady? She lights up the candle and shows him the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I called up the captain. Please bring me my wine. He said, we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. And still those voices are calling from far away. Okay, so before I move forward further, what do you guys think of that line? So I call up the captain, please bring me my wine.
Yeah, where does the captain come from? Like a captain to me is either in the military or on a boat. So how come we go from mission bells and ladies in the night with candles to to a captain and the captain is serving him. Please bring me my wine, right?
I always took it as like the captain of the hotel staff.
Okay.
But I want to throw out that he's like, so I called up the captain, and like it ties in for me to this, back to the pretty boys she calls friends that she's dancing with. Like he gets lured into this place because of her, and then it turns out she's there dancing with all the pretty boys. So she's like, all right, bring me my wine then. So it's kind of like, I get this vibe of like the legend of the small town girl that goes to California, and like he's on a mission to find her, and he finds her, and she's in this place, and then just dejected, he's like, bring me the wine.
Yeah, I think it sounds like almost, to me, I think there's kind of a, when he brings up the word wine, I think it's almost a prayer. I think it's as trying to call on something that's old and familiar.
Like
And
recapturing communion.
Comforting.
Yeah, I think the reference to wine is explicitly, I think there's a lot of religious type references in the song, and I think that this is one of them. And so I called up the captain. I think could also be kind of like maybe like a foxhole like prayer or something, or something of this sort. And it's just not working out like he had hoped.
That's actually a good thought, Chad. Because I keep thinking the captain is some kind of authority, right? Like a captain has authority. And he's asking the captain to serve him his wine. Like he's calling you don't call the captain, you call the waiter, right? That's my confusion. But he calls the captain and says, please bring me my wine. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I guess maybe you'd only call on the captain if you work there as well.
Or you were just more authoritative than the captain himself, right? Like you were the guest of honor or something to that effect. Then it's like calling the chef, right? Or the manager. I need to speak to your manager, kind of thing. That's what it feels like to me.
That we haven't had that spirit here is heavy, especially if you tie it into communion wine. It makes the trapped that comes later on so much worse. That the spirit he's looking for is long since gone.
Yeah, since 1969.
When was the song written? Do you remember?
I think 73.
Okay.
According to this lyrics page I have, it said it was released as a single in February of 77.
77.
I don't know what that means for it being written, but
yeah,
there's that. It's a good year, but it makes it so I have no idea what the spirit they might have had in 69 that they no longer have is.
That's what I'm wondering too. Like 69 was kind of the height of I'm just wondering what was going on in 69 specifically. But
I'm guessing it was something that was lost in the Vietnam War.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, that's I'm just gonna look up highlights from 69.
In California in particular. And like you have like the Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Birds are all coming.
Nixon was inaugurated in 1969.
Yeah, Joni Mitchell. You got like the Beach Boys. You have this California Free Love.
The Apollo 11 on the moon in 1969. Woodstock.
Probably that then, right?
Woodstock. That's what I'm thinking. And then there was a protest on Washington against Vietnam, 250,000 people.
They wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say. And this chorus has a slight twist compared to the last one. With after such a lovely face it hits, they living it up at the Hotel California. What a nice surprise. Bring your alibis.
Bring your alibis. See, like, yeah, that's interesting.
It's a nice double.
Well, that's almost like, let me read that. Where is it? Oh, here. Yeah.
So
I wonder if that is a reference to Nixon, because if he wrote it in 77, and they're nostalgic about 69, then any of Nixon's friends would have been more like his alibis, right?
Well, I think there's a lot of deception going on here too, right? Where they're saying like, oh, they're living it up at the hotel, like they're lying to themselves.
Yeah, and that's Watergate was really disorienting for the United States, because that was the first time that the public lost faith in their institution, right, in their government, and everybody got to look a look into the corrupt ways that even the president, he's kind of like God, right? But here he is, you know, tapping people's phones, sneaking around at night, and, you know, they're like, what? So yeah, I don't know, maybe it has nothing to do with Watergate, but it feels like a descent. Like it feels like, yeah, things really changed in 69 when Nixon became president, right?
Yeah. Well, and an alibi too would be like a song, right? But you have, when you write a little alibi, isn't there a song? Aren't songs called alibis?
Lullaby.
Lullaby.
Alibi is for when you're gonna do something illegal and you need to tell them you were someplace else already. I was with them. I wasn't here doing this illegal thing. I have an alibi.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's bring your cover story
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
because you're about
Someone
to be
who
living
can
it up.
testify that you were with them at the time of the crime. And so you couldn't have been there, something like that.
Mhm.
Speaking of crimes, there's mirrors on the ceiling and pink champagne on ice,
Speaking of crime.
which throws me back to my understanding of the pretty boys she calls friends.
Yeah, and then she says, we're all just prisoners here. It sounds pretty fancy, right? For a prison. Mirrors on the ceiling, pink champagne on ice. Some people will be like, yeah, that I could deal with that, you know? But it's a prison.
Of our own device.
Mhm.
Like
This
we're the
is-
ones keeping us trapped here.
Yeah, this is like C.S. Lewis's Hell is Locked from the Inside, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in the master's chambers, they gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. What's that one for you, Chad?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a part of the alibis, you know, it's the lying to ourselves and it's kind of, I think it's kind of like a hellish version of when St. Paul talks about, I do the things that I don't want to do. Like, why do I do the things I don't want to do? And don't do the things I want to do. I think it's something like that. And it's definitely a part of this whole prison scheme, right? Like, and some of the alibis that they even have are like the alibis they're selling to themselves, the mirrors on the ceiling and the pink champagne and ice. All this stuff is like, I'm convincing myself that this is what I want, and I'm having this communion with my so-called friends, and in the master's chambers. Yeah. Well, clearly it's a reference to some sort of drug, but also.
Well, it's also
I mean,
more than more than that, I think, because
Totally. But
because
how do you like say it? You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
one of
well,
those.
one of the things that's interesting is that they're trying to eat, right? They're there for the feast, but they can't kill the beast. So they're literally trying to eat something that's still alive, if you think about it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they're stabbing it so that it'll die, so they can eat it, so they can have the feast. But it's still alive. So I don't know. What do you think that means?
Well, for me, the master's chamber is maybe church. I'm not sure what feast they gather for, but the stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast thing is like the beasts that we're in, that like he was saying, the addictions is
Or the beast that's in them?
yeah, the beast within is like their steely knives are their will, intention, discipline,
Right.
and they take a stab at their own addictions, but they
Yep.
can't conquer their own addictions, and that's why they're prisoners of their own device.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I went to town today and I downloaded some like an Audible book of William Blake's poetry. And this one played and it was really, I just thought I'd share it with you guys. It's called The Divine Image. And it's hard. To mercy, pity, peace, and love, all pray in their distress, and to these virtues of delight return their thankfulness. For mercy, pity, peace, and love is God our Father dear, and mercy, pity, peace, and love is man, his child in care. For mercy has a human heart, pity a human face, and love the human form divine, and peace the human dress. Then every man and every clime, a praise in his distress, praise to the human form divine, love, mercy, pity, peace. Oh, this is not the one. Dang, sorry. This is not the one I was thinking of.
It might have been the one you were supposed to read, though.
Yeah, I'll just finish it. Then every man of every clime that praise in his distress, praise to the human form divine, love, mercy, pity, peace, and all must love the human form in heathen, Turk, or Jew, where mercy, love, and pity dwell, their God is dwelling too. But the one that I was thinking of, now I'll have to look at, maybe I'll send it to you guys after if I find it, it was also called Divine Image, but it was a really dark picture of the human heart. And it wasn't that many stanzas. So it was just like I don't know, maybe like 10 lines. And it just left you with this feeling of what? That's how you felt afterwards. But it wasn't wrong, because that's the beast, right? Like you are the image of God. And then you've got this other thing there, right? Like you were talking about Paul saying, why do I do the things that I don't want to do, right? And I think that's what Blake is playing with there, this idea of this beast, right? That you're trying to kill with I like that a lot about the steely knives. That's good. That was really good.
There's so much double entendres and stuff in this song. Because that's why I think it's one of those songs that's just kind of bottomless. It's like people have been trying to figure out exactly what this song is about forever, and everybody has this different version of it. But that last, I think that's damn near the last verse there it's unbelievable.
Last thing I remember,
I
was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man. We are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. What do you guys think?
I'll let Shari go, because when I go, it's going to reveal like what I think the song's about. So maybe we could deliver on that part.
The first 4 lines, last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. I think that is what most people do when they find themselves in a strange place, right? They want to go back to the way, what they know, right? And you find out quickly that you never can go back. You can never go back, because you aren't the same person anymore anyways, right? This is really what it's about. And I mean, not the whole song, but that little bit there is once you've crossed a threshold in your life, you know, which is like a door, right? A gate. Yeah, and this is also fairy tale language. Like you can also never go back, right? In the fairy tale, like you can never go back. That's because I think that you're never the same person that you were before, you know.
Yeah, I
So,
got that vibe. I get that vibe very hard too. Like the place I was before is actually the person he was before.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you know, like just a personal story, like when I had my car accident and I had this brain injury and I'm struggling with who the hell am I, because I really wasn't the same person anymore. And I had this occupational therapist who was helping me deal with all my problems. And one day she said to me, because I used to constantly talk about me in the past tense. I used to constantly, because I needed to hang on to this person who was capable, and now I was just like a pile of mush, right? And I was like, oh, I used to homeschool my kids and I used to do all these things, and you know, and then I would kind of bemoan my situation. I can't do anything anymore, you know. And she said to me one day, you have to stop talking about yourself in the past tense. And that was the first wake-up call for me to actually live in the moment, right? And not be always thinking about the place I was before.
Follow that one up, Jed.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of the song is so it's, I think from the opening of the song, it's motivated by a dream to leave the place wherever he's coming from, to drive through this desert to get to this place, this ideal, this hotel, this dream place. And so I think the whole song kind of takes place, it starts as a dream and kind of like devolves into a nightmare. And and I think like either he wakes up from the nightmare, which I'm not exactly sure, but if he wakes up, he probably doesn't like where he woke up in, right? Because it doesn't sound too good, right? Like, because you could check out anytime you like, you can never leave. So yeah, I don't know. I think that a lot of this stuff is it might just be a nightmare. The whole song might just be like starting from like an obsessive dream to chase some self-centered dream to waking up in a self-centered hell.
Yeah.
But I also think where the Nightman says that you could check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. I think that's fundamentally a lie, because I think you can go, you can go back, but maybe not to the place you were before, I guess.
Well, you can leave,
Yeah.
but that doesn't
Right.
mean you're back. Yeah.
Right. Where it says you can never leave, I think that's the great lie in the song.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
It is fascinating because like the way the first line of it opens with the last thing I remember, I was running for the door, and then you can never leave. Like there seems to be something false between one of those two, because as the person who's telling me the last thing he remembers means that he is out of there because he's talking to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. That's a good observation.
But like this whole, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave, to me makes the whole song about like it's reincarnation. It's like, because as somebody who's not wanted to be alive plenty of times, the checking out has the double meaning of like suicide versus whatever. And it's like you can check out all you want, but you still can't leave. You'll still be here, like
Right.
the next go round. So that it turns the whole song into like, this is the fall. Once Adam ate the apple, like it's the cycle of reincarnation, the samsara wheel. You're here.
Yeah,
You can check out if you want, but you'll still be here.
right. And I mean, that goes back to the very beginning of the song, right? Like basically we wake up in this and to the song where he's in the desert. So he's been doing this forever anyways. Wherever he came from, it's there he always was. You know, yeah. It's a chilling song. And I don't know.
Relax, said the night man.
Yeah, the Nightman. Hey, what the hell is that? You know, it's yeah, is that like the Sandman or something? Like Bring Me a Dream?
Well, the Nightman, isn't he like the night watchman,
Yes.
night security guard,
They're all symbols, right?
keeping you safe from the darkness?
Or at least keeping you company in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think the reason that this song resonates with almost everybody who listens to it is because it's fractal. It's talking about a lot of things. It's talking about suicide. It's talking about despair. It's talking about addiction. And all those things are hell, right? So ultimately, like it's talking about hell, I think. Being locked from the inside. And I think you're right. I mean, for me anyway, that last line is the deception that you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. But that's the ultimate despair, right? That you can't escape the hell that you're in. So it's very hopeless in that sense.
Right. I mean, right. You can check out anytime you like. Like that's a lie in itself too, because no matter how hard you try to check out or forget, it ain't happening.
But at least there's the warm smell of colitas.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Chad. I'm running away to go dance to forget now.
All right, brother. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
You
All
guys.
right. Well, I guess we'll call it, I guess, hey.
Yeah. Well, how did you think that was good?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's a tough song because it's like there's a lot, there's a lot there. You could look at this song in a year from now and maybe see something a little different. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean about it being fractal, right? Like it's a pattern. It's the bottom of the U-shaped journey is what it is.
Yeah. Right.
And so how you get to the bottom, yeah, you're still there. Like you're still at the bottom. Like it's got anything that traps you into this kind of despair, which is a form of deception, because that's not true, right? It's all going to hold that same pattern within it,
Yeah.
You're gonna be coming towards a light, and then you're gonna find yourself somewhere where you can't get out, right?
Or at least you feel like you can't get out. Because I thought it was interesting. You're saying, yeah, so we're talking about addiction and all this different stuff and suicide, but really when we look at the song, the parts of these lyrics that are so kind of like alluring and they kind of pull you in, you're like, and they have me so interested in, it's such vivid pictures, right? They're talking about I can see the woman lighting the candle. I can see the desert. I can see all these things. I can see the Mercedes Benz, and I can picture the woman. I can picture the lifestyle. I can picture all of these different things, right? So these are all symptomatic things, but what's going on there? There's so much under that that's so incredible. Like it's very poetic, I think.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
And
Like you were talking about, right?
yeah, it's like sometimes I think about this, I think especially when I'm listening to the song, because in its totality, like the lyrics in itself are really great. But when I listen to the song in its totality, like, and everything about it, I just think, how the hell did human beings write this song? How did 4 people get together and capture this moment? Like, how did they capture all of this grand picture of whatever Hotel California is? How do they do that? And some might disagree, but I would say there's something divinely inspired about it, because although there's very dark imagery and stuff in there, I mean, it adds a contrast to my own life. Like when I hear this, right, I'm able to reflect on something.
Right.
And so on the other side of that, there might be, I mean, for years, there was always, I didn't feel despair when I heard this, I guess. I felt like,
nobody actually does. Like whenever the song pops up on a jukebox somewhere, or everyone's like, oh, right on, you know, they love it.
yeah,
But it's because the music is transporting you into a different mindset, right,
Yeah.
than the words. So the music and the words are super contrasted.
right, yeah,
And it's kind of like the idea of Chucky the doll, right? Like, you know, you've got this doll,
Mhm.
a little girl's best friend, and it turns into a serial killer, you know, like it's or the merry-go-round in the horror film, you know, where you got you know, the
right,
weird tones and notes. So it's doing that, like they're doing that on purpose, right?
yeah. But even still, like for me, so I've read these lyrics even as a kid, and so I just love them. And as much as there's a darkness to it, I think there's a reflection in it though too, you know. And there's like when I figured out that the idea of Hotel California is it's a fool's dream. The idea of it's almost like the self-centered American dream. Like I'm gonna go to California. I'm gonna leave this place behind. I'm gonna go and become a star. I'm gonna go find my people. I'm gonna go, I'm me. And meanwhile, I'm really just programmed to receive. I'm a taker. You know, but I don't realize that. I'm stuck in this
Yeah.
you know, and so I don't know, I just think it's really
Maybe it's the hell of being programmed to receive,
right.
and never giving,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that's the whole song, I think, is really about this. All of the characters are they're stuck in a hall of mirrors. They can only see themselves, really. And
Yeah. Totally.
yeah, but that's the California dreaming. California dreaming.
Yeah.
You know, but
An illusion.
mhm.
Is that the shimmering light? What do they call those? Mirage?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you doing this with me. And I don't know if anybody's getting anything out of it, but I like talking about this song with other people, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I loved it. Thanks for inviting me, Chad.
Cool beans. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Yeah, we'll see you, Chad.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.